The following video may contain language and jokes intended for a general audience of over 13. Alright mate, how you doing? If there's one boss I'm always going to look forward to fighting, it's definitely the final boss. It just gives you an adrenaline that no other boss can match, and the Mario series is no exception. Some of the best final bosses I've ever fought are in this series, so I'm taking into account gameplay, atmosphere, music, and how much fun they are. If it's really good in any of those areas, it is probably on the list, so let's freaking go! When it comes to Super Mario games, it's not uncommon while most of the bosses aren't that great, the final boss is pretty good. Okay, the first phase is still the same rubbish, I'm sure you just pushed that switch there for the pants, but the second phase is a whole nother story. Now, there's been giant fights before in this series, but this is the first where he's on the same platform as you, so the only way you're going to hit him is to knock the little brat out of his clown car that seems to have suddenly lost its defensive shield, fly up dodging his lack of fire breaths, and give Bowser concussion. In between hits, retreat into his shell and cause a rain of fireballs to frankly dodge. Like I said, it's a pretty good final boss, which is the most I would expect from a game like this. With Dream Team Bros having the best selection of bosses in the series, of course the final boss is going to get a spot on here. With the Tree Stone basically acting like a massive steroid for Bowser, all of his attacks are powerful and tricky to avoid, and so much can happen at any point. Unfortunately, I can't overlook one massive issue with this fight, that damn healing. Every so often, Bowser retreats into the background and heals, and you can't damage him again until you wipe out every single enemy. Now, I can live with that. What I can't live with is him doing it multiple times in a row, which gets bloody annoying. This fight would have been a lot higher if he did that less often. But aside from that, this fight is an absolute blast. Not to mention you get one of Yoko Shimomura's best pieces, and it's not the last of hers we'll be hearing on this list. Bringing back up the first point I made in the new Super Mario Bros. U segment, except Galaxy does have some amazing bosses. After the best galaxy in the game, you get 3 phases all playing very differently. On the first planet, you need to jump over his shockwaves and time your spins when he's in a boulder. On the second planet, oh well, that was pathetic. But the final planet more than makes up for that. It plays out like the previous fights, except Bowser will now shoot fireballs and create shockwaves all over the damn place. All with that godlike music playing. This fight would be a little bit higher if the second phase was a little better, but it's an overall satisfying conclusion to the game, which obviously all the remaining bosses also are. Do I get the first attack? Well, I'll certainly not miss being killed by that arm moon on the first time round. But with the highest HP count of any boss in the game, and that's not even counting the head and her arms that each get their own attack as well, that you need to take out to rip open the heart, which closes after only a couple of turns, so it's still not an easy fight. But it's a welcome challenge to an otherwise easy game. I also love how each of your attacks is more effective on different parts, so it's nice that every move gets a chance to shine. And with how well the combat system in this game flows, you'll always have to be on your toes. Super Mario Odyssey had some of the most satisfying ways to hit a boss in the series. You get to punch Floaty Head in the face, give it overweight bird concussion from a liquid, because that makes sense, and send bunnies flying. And this just might be the most satisfying way to hit a boss in the series. You gotta throw Cappy at his hat, dodge his firewaves and fireballs, and then you gotta punch him over and over again and send him flying into the spikes on the side of the arena. Like, mate, that's gotta hurt. There's honestly nothing else I can really say about this fight. I just really like how you take it out. Ever since it's revealed about halfway through the game that the treasure behind the 1,000-year door is that of a 1,000-year-old demon soul, it's been built up as a massive threat, and it's certainly all paid off. After the Shadow Queen possesses Peach, all of her attacks do insane damage, and once you've dealt enough to her, she'll become pissed enough to become invincible and massacres the entire audience. But then after one of the most powerful cutscenes in the series, you get the strength to take on her last phase. It's an all-out battle with 150 HP, and some of the most powerful attacks in the game which you might be glad of Vivian for. It's a long and challenging fight, but it all pays off with the satisfaction of seeing the spirit blowing up, ending the best game on the GameCube. It's a shame the direction the Paper Mario bosses went later on in the series. Super Mario 3D Land was a pretty fun game, but it wasn't anything special. But the final boss certainly was something special. I've always liked it when final bosses in this series have some amount of platforming in it, and this has got to be one of my favourites. After Bowser causes the ground beneath you to break, putting on a little weight there, mate, you have to climb up the crumbling tower whilst avoiding all the attacks Bowser throws out non-stop to what looks like the final switch. But since the music is still playing, a short while later, he comes back shooting white fireballs that can destroy the platforms you're on before you gotta leg it to the real final switch. The overall pace, rhythm and intensity of this fight never lets up. The music that plays during all of this is a perfect fit, and it's easily my favourite part of the game. Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story is nowhere near my favourite of the series, but I really enjoyed controlling Bowser, and he was definitely at his best in the final. It starts out with the two of them clashing it out with 1000 HP and countering variations of your own attacks, including sending several dark minions at you. But it gets even better when you knock Bawful out and inhale the bugger. You won't be able to take out this boss until you break his legs, and that's hard to do if you don't blind him, and you only get so long to attack when he is down. I love how he uses every single piece of the battle system it can, all the while my favourite video game music piece plays in the background. Seriously, that song alone would get it on the list. Picking my favourite Bowser fight in the series? Oh, that's easy. Like with Super Mario 3D Land, it's easily the best part of the game, and probably any 2D Mario game as a whole. It's a huge step up from any of his previous encounters, though to be fair, most of his earlier 2D fights were like, "Hey Bowser, bye Bowser." In the first half, you need to guide Bowser's fireballs that are like twice your size to open up the path. It's cool and all, but the second half is even better, because now you have to deal with a thrilling platforming section over lava that's actually pretty damn hard without the propeller mushroom this game generously gives you, whilst being chased and avoiding all of the fireballs, lava waves, and not taking a dip into the lava below. All the while that choir is going on. It's just a few too many power-ups lying around away from being one of my favourite final battles out there. Okay, here's some final bosses that I also really like. Ultimate Koopa from Super Mario 64, for being by far the best boss in the game and that organ. Behemoth from Mario Sports Mix, for how well it uses each of the 4 sports. Bowser from Mario Party Island Tour, because his attacks were all fun to dodge, and it's one of my favourite uses of the gyroscope on the 3DS. Shiny Row Bowser from Mario & Luigi Paper Jam Bros, because whilst the first phase wasn't all that great, the second phase was my favourite part of the game. And finally, Meowser from Super Mario Maker 2. What's better than a Meowser fight? A Meowser fight that doesn't auto-scroll. Mario & Luigi Partners in Time is one of my favourite Mario RPGs. I love the baby's addition to the combat, the darker tone for the series, and its soundtrack. And you get all of that in the final boss. No, not that piece of shit, the real final boss. First phase is Elder Princess Shroop using her shrews to attack you, and then blowing them up I'm not caring. And so these attacks can be nasty if you fail to land the counter. But the real highlight here is the second phase, because you have to take out her legs and then her crown before you can damage her, all the while dealing with suicide bombers, and her tentacles can do far worse than violate you. Even when I got really good at this fight, I still struggle to dodge some of these attacks, which makes sense as the shrew species is basically counting on winning this fight to survive. But at the same time, you're having to fight to make sure your species survives. So yeah, whoever loses, their species is done for. So yeah, there's quite a lot at stake, but that's why it would have been the perfect way to end the game, and only one final boss has ever beaten it. This has been Spit Inkling. Cheers for watching the video, mate. See you next week for the worst final bosses.